fam, welcome back. In today's video we're talking about my 2020 makeup favorites. We will talk about the foundations, the eyeshadow palettes, the lip glosses, the everything of this year that was just chef's kiss. I also did a full face of 2020 makeup favorites, which turned into this look. And if you want to see that, I will link it up here. In that video, I just picked one product in each category and picked my absolute fave. But today we're going to talk about all my favorite foundations, not the favorite foundation. Since there are so many products that I'm about to talk about today, I have them all laid out here. That's why I'm looking this way. I won't be able to talk about each one for too long, but if I do have a video where I use that product, I will link it together with the product link in the description bar. Okay, let's get into the video. I'm going to go in the order of how I would do my makeup, which is I would start with my base, right? And this primer is the only primer I've been using this year. I'm not a big believer in primers because I don't have a skin type that is very problematic. I think that like if you have oily skin, you might want to prime. If you have extremely dry skin, you want to prime too. If you have some sort of like texture issue, you want to prime. I am dry and I do get drier as it gets colder, so I have been using this. If you watch my videos, you've seen me like ramble about this, but this is the Cover FX SPF 30 Booster Drops Oily Primer with SPF in it. You can absolutely just use an oil if you want to instead, but I really like the texture of this one. It's not too oily, it sinks right in, but it gives my skin a very nice glow. So this is a little trooper. I really like this one. Next, let's do foundations or tinted moisturizers. I'm going to start with two faves in the low coverage category. If you're new to makeup, or if you just like to have something on your skin but that barely gives you any coverage, you should check out this. This is a glossy skin tint. It is just a very nice dewy liquidy formula that goes onto your skin and it just ever so slightly evens out, but don't count on any coverage. I'm the type of person who likes to do my makeup, so I like to put something on my skin before I go out. I also have dry and dull skin, so I just want to give it something that gives it glow. And on days where my skin is just in a very good state, this is perfect because it just gives it that little you know, that you just need sometimes, just a little Then there's the NYX Bear With Me tinted moisturizer, also an amazing product. I know a lot of people rave about this one. This one has low coverage, so there is a little bit of just evening out, covering up, just making the skin look a little bit nicer. I know a lot of people love this one and there's raving reviews about this one online. Two great low coverage ones. Then when we get into the medium coverage, this is where I am at. Like, I love a medium coverage glowy foundation. That's me. I like it because you can grab a tiny bit, you can get low coverage, or you can build them up and get high coverage. First up is the Anastasia Luminous Foundation. This one I tried I think in the end of last year, and I just fell in love. It's an amazing, nice, just, you know when you expect a foundation to just go on nicely and like not give you any issues whatsoever? This is every time. No matter what I have underneath or what I apply with, every time, this just goes on so nicely. Gives a medium coverage. Lovely 10 out of 10 recommend. Then there's a dupe for that. This is the Luminous Complexion Foundation by Beauty Act. This is a Swedish brand, and if you want a medium coverage, very nice glowy foundation, this is the one. It is a dupe because they are very similar in formula and in finish, but this one is half the price. And then if you want a little bit of a dupe but that you can get anywhere in the world, I have the NYX Born to Glow. I would say that this one is like more low to medium coverage, but still is definitely buildable, and it's a little less glowy than the other two, but it's still nice, and it gives off a very like, your skin just looks very hydrated and nice. Then we have more medium to high coverage. I don't have any high coverage ones that I really love, but these ones are definitely buildable. The first one is the Power Play Foundation. That's the one I'm using today, from Cover FX. Lovely, you know, as all the others, goes on so smoothly on the skin, gives a really nice coverage. And then of course I have the dupe for the Cover FX one because this one is quite pricey. I have the Milani Conceal and Perfect 2-in-1. Wow, This is a great medium to full coverage foundation, and it just sits very naturally on the skin. I wouldn't say it's glowy or matte. It's just like this very nice skin-like satin finish. Amazing. Such a good, affordable drugstore product. Then for concealers, we have 3. I'm gonna start off with my absolute fave, which if you watch my videos, you know. This is the Cosmetics by Under Eye in medium tan. It's a full coverage, waterproof concealer, but what I love about it, it's almost like a pot concealer, but it's in a tube because it's very glowy, dewy. It just gives this very dewy under eye finish that I have today. I don't know if you can see it on the under eyes in particular. I think my whole face is glowy. I don't think that it sits too well on top of like breakouts. It doesn't sit too well on top of texture, but for the under eyes, perfection. Then I have the CoverFX Power Play Concealer. Just a really nice natural finish concealer. It's not matte, it's not dewy, it's just in between, really nice, does its job. And the perfect thing about this one is that it works everywhere. So if I want to put it on my under eyes, it works on top of breakouts, it works on dry spots, it works just anywhere. It's just an all in all really good concealer. Then lastly, we have more of like a low to medium coverage one. This is the Make the Make Pot Concealer in N4. And yeah, sorry for the ugly top. Lovely, lovely pot concealer that is also very dewy. It has a really nice pinkish tint that really, like if I have a day where my under eye circles are a little bit darker, I'll pick this one out and I'm good to go. Especially these 2 ones who are more dewy, they do crease on my under eyes, and I don't powder them because I don't really like the look of like a matte under eye. So I just do that to kind of just pat out if I have any concealer stuck in like, wrinkles and stuff. For powder, if you've been here before, you know I'm not a powder person, and I haven't tried a whole bunch of powders to be honest, but I did try the LA Girl Pro Powder in Banana Yellow, and I really like it. I've been finding that my forehead has been looking a little bit too oily at times. And so I've been just powdering on the tiniest amount, just in the middle of my forehead, and it makes it look really nice, like very smooth, almost airbrushed. And it's a drugstore product, so I remember it being very cheap. So just thought I'd throw it in there, but don't trust me as far as powders go. I'm not an expert. Bronzers. I have 3, which like 2 of them I've used excessively on this channel. This is the Milani Baked Bronzer in 05 Soleil. I'm wearing it today. It's just a really nice glowy bronzer, and I don't know, but there's something with like sparkly bronzers. For a while people were like, no, I want a matte one, and I think it's maybe because like we used to associate like sparkly bronzers with like sparkles, but this one is not sparkly. It just gives you a nice bronzy, and you know what bronze is? Bronze is glow, and glow is highlight, and there's highlight in this, but it's a very fine, delicate, nice highlight. And it gives, I mean, I know it looks very orange, which when I opened it at first I was like, but it complements my skin tone very, very nice. It is very warm, but I think it looks good if you use not too much. Then I have the CoverFX bronzer drops in Sunkissed. For a while there I was using only these because when I got them in PR I got obsessed because they do also have a very nice, like very natural skin-like finish. There's just something about bronzers where many of them have just been too matte or too, there's something with the formula that makes them very patchy on my skin, and I find that the colder the season and the paler my skin is, the more difficult it is for me to use bronzer because it just looks very unnatural, and it's very difficult to just do a tiny amount without overdoing it, and once you overdo it, it doesn't match, the rest of your complexion. So I just find bronzers to be very difficult, and when I got this one I was like, wow, I never tried a liquid bronzer before, and these drops are amazing. The only issue I've been having with it a little bit lately is that it is a bit more cool toned. It's almost like it's in between a bronze and a contour shade, but I still love it and I still think it looks great on my skin. I also like that they're pigmented, and you can tell that the quality is there, but they're not over pigmented to the point where like you put a little bit of bronzer on, you're like, fuck, when you do too much. For my blushes, I have quite a few, and now that I'm looking at them, I realize that they're all warm toned or peachy. I don't know, there's something about cool toned pink blushes that I don't, maybe it's because they don't complement my undertone too well, I'm not sure. The first one is of course the Cloud Paint from Glossier. This one is in Dusk. I have it on today. It's just a very nice peachy shade, but it's not too much. It just makes my little cheeks pop a little bit, but it's just not, it's a very everyday color. Amazing. Then I have a bit of a more peachier one. This is the Wander Beauty Lip to Cheek in Double Date. It's a very cool little package because you have a balm and a blush and a mirror in there, so it's really good for traveling. The formula is just amazing. It's a cream blush and it just goes on very naturally and very nice. Then I have some Swedish brands. This is the Isadora Perfect Blush in 01 Warm Nude. So it's a powder blush, and I haven't been using powder blushes a lot. As you can tell, I love liquid and cream products, but this one really caught me because it's like, it is warm tone, but it's very natural. So if you're looking for like an everyday natural warm tone blush and you're, have my type of skin color, this one is amazing. I also don't like when powder blushes are too pigmented because it's almost like with bronzer, you just want to take a little and then all of a sudden you look like a porcelain doll or something. I want the pigment or the payoff to be medium. I don't want it to be too much, because it just gives me more control. Then I have an amazing blush palette. This is the Iconic Blush Kit by Beauty Act, another Swedish brand, so if you're in Sweden, this is amazing. You have cool tones, you have warm toned. I have been using this one a lot and this one, these two basically. And this pink I like because it's not too out there. It's still very neutral. It doesn't do too much. And so if you're a newbie or if you travel a lot, which none of us do now, but some of us travel a lot, this one is perfect. There's a huge mirror in there. The palette feels very heavy and luxurious, and it's just a very beautiful design. And then lastly, there's another cream blush. This is once again Isadora. It's their stick blush in 04 Pretty Peach. This is a very like bright corally color. I mean, you obviously wouldn't use that much, but I just wanted to show you that it does get pretty pigmented if you want to. But also, once again, very easy to work with, very easy to blend, sits on your skin all day. They have a bunch of colors in this one if you want to check them out. Then lastly, for our base, let's do highlighters. I mentioned it before, this has not been the year of the highlighters. I very rarely use powder highlighters. I just find that cream works so much better on me, and it just gives me that type of dewy finish that I really like in highlighters. And so a lot of my favorite highlighters have been by brands who have ended up being very problematic, so I stopped using some of them, and so I don't actually have that many highlighters, which I wish I did. But I promised myself that for 2021 I'm gonna go on a highlighter hunt and make sure that I find the best affordable cruelty-free highlighters out there. Who's with me? Like for my fave, I have once again a Swedish brand, the Isadora 34 Dewy Nude. It's what I'm using today. It's basically what I'm using in all my videos this year. Let me just show it to you quickly before I move on to the more international global one, but it's just, you see that it's just a glow. There's just a dew. There's no sparkly things in there. It's just a very natural, like, amazing dewy finish, and it's getting discontinued, so I guess this will not be in my future favorite videos. But another really good option is the Glossier Halo Scope. This one is in quartz. It's actually the only shade that I really like because the other ones are a little bit more sparkly. This one is like just really dewy. So the Glossier one is right here. You can see it's a bit lighter and a little bit more highlight in there, but it's definitely still just very dewy. Let's do eyes because I have quite a few palettes in there. My first fave is of course the Anastasia Modern Renaissance. I know that the makeup community on YouTube have really overused these palettes, but they are very good. The eyeshadows are such high quality. The color schemes are just so thought out that you end up using a lot of them. Like I have a hit pan on almost 3. That one, almost that one, and this one. And then warm taupe also, I'm very close to hitting pan. I love eyeshadow palettes, and this one is just a perfect nude one, but it's a little bit more cool toned. I mean, there are warm tone shades like here, but overall it's a little bit more cool tone, which I was really into in the beginning of the year. Lately I have been liking warm tone palettes a little bit more, and so I've really been using this one from Juvia's Place. It's their Nubian palette. That's the one that I used today for my eyes. It's just a lovely palette of like transition shades, like right up here. Here you have highlighting shades. Here you have like a little bit more of glittery shades, and then you have the deep, kind of deepening depth colors. Anyways, it's incredibly diverse. You can do so many good looks with this one. It is drugstore, so it's quite affordable. Amazing quality as well. Are very easy to blend, and they're very pigmented, and they sit all day. So what else do you want in a palette, really? Then for more colorful palettes, I have been loving the Makeup Revolution Euphoria palette. It's crazy because I think this palette is like $12 or even cheaper. I don't even know. It's very cheap. And most of the shadows in here are really good, especially the matte ones, like the green, the yellow, the pinks, the coral one, this green too. This beige one, or like bone white color, is also really good. The black one is amazing too. For an affordable eyeshadow palette, this black is really, really good. The only shadows that don't really have a lot of pigment is the glittery ones. Not really there, unfortunately, but the matte ones are amazing. I've done several looks with these. Generally, Makeup Revolution as a brand does really good budget products, or like just affordable products. And then for my last like palette, this is the Makeup Revolution Forever Flawless Ice palette. It's obviously a very blue palette. I bought this in the beginning of the year because I wanted to do this like very editorial blue Bella Hadid look, and I got it and I just opened it up and I was like, wow, there's just so much that I can do with this palette, and I've used it so many times for so many looks. It's really high quality. In this one, in comparison to the other one, all the shades are very pigmented and very nice. If you're looking for more like a colorful blue palette, you have like your deep blues, like here, here, and here. Some matte, some shimmery ones. Then you have your like minty blues, like this one right here, 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 and almost here too, and oh, icicle as well. And then you have like a little bit more of a green pastel-y one. You have your lighter shades, you have silver. There's just so many good colors in here. So even though it looks very blue, it's very versatile, I would say. Before we move on to other eye products, I just wanted to quickly mention the Pixie glitters. You know how I feel about these. I've been using them for like all my glitter tutorials. They are pressed eyeshadows, so I mean they are essentially powders, but they feel, in a sense, almost a little bit creamy, and they work like that too. Once you apply them on your eyes, they sit. There is a little bit of fallout, but once you apply and clean up, like, they sit on your eyes the entire night. Let's quickly talk about mascara, brows, and liners. I've really only been using 2 mascaras this year, one that is waterproof and one that isn't. For the non-waterproof one, I've been really loving the Glossier Lash Slick. Jesus. But I ran out of that, I think sometime in August, and then I bought this other one, and I've just been using this one since because I don't want to be wasteful and have a bunch of products. The Glossy Lash Slick is a really good one. It has tiny little fibers in it, so it really helps to like plump and lengthen your lashes. Really love that one. And then my second one, which is I've run out of now, I need to go get a new one. I used it today, but it's like I barely got any mascara out. This is the, oh, it's totally scraped off as well. This is the CoverGirl Waterproof Total Tease Mascara. It's just amazing. It's got the wand that I love. It's a very thin wand, and then it has that thing on the top for your lower lashes, or for you to really get into like, you know, inner corner, outer corner kind of thing. And it's perfect for people who have either smaller eyes or hooded eyes, because the brush is so tiny and delicate. The chance for, you know, smudging or getting mascara stains is smaller. And so it's really easy to handle. I love the formula because it is waterproof, so it is stubborn, and it is a bitch to remove, but it is worth it because my lashes stay up all day with this. All day. Then for brows, I have an entire video, but I set my brows with soap, which to some people is no news, maybe to some people it is. So I'm gonna link that video, but I do use this Shea Moisture African Black Soap to set my brows, and then if I feel like I need to fill them in, which I most often don't feel like I have to because I do have quite a lot of brow, as you can see. But if I do feel like I need to fill them in, I use the Urban Decay Brow Blade. This brow pencil, shit, it's the best. It's got this felt tip applicator, so it's really easy to draw on hair-like strokes. And I mean, there's something that is so perfect with the length of that felt tip. It's just not too long, because I feel like, for example, with the Glossier one, Brow Flick, actually the formula is really nice with that one, and I do love the colors too, but the applicator is too long, so it's like you try to draw on the strokes and it's almost like bending, and it sometimes like makes you get a little blob of color where you don't want one. This one is just very delicate and very easy to work with, so I love, love, love this one. Then lastly, for eyeliners, I have a set of eyeliners that I love that are all basically drugstore and affordable, because I feel like eyeliners and mascaras, they're just that type of category. Like, you really don't need to splurge money on eyes, really, not eyeshadows either. My favorites, I don't have them because I've ran out of most of them, but I'll add them in here. Generally with eyeliners, I love felt tip ones, so it's the ones like these. And all the ones that I'm going to recommend today, they're very easy to work with, they're very black, they're easy to fix if you like screw up, they're easy to remove with like a Q-tip and some makeup remover. They're also easy to reapply product on top, if that makes sense. There's some eyeliners that, like, when you do like one line and then you go in once again to kind of like thicken it up or make it a little bit more black, and like they start like patching and just cracking up, or like you kind of pick up product instead of like adding on. None of these do that. They're all so easy to work with, great applicators, and last a long time, and they're very black. So for my first one, I love the Milani felt tip one. I also love the NYX felt tip one. But yeah, those are the two like drugstore ones that I love. But I also love the Glossier one. The Glossier one is perfection. Love it. And then lastly is the Isadora Flex Tip Liner. So if you're in Sweden, this one is my favorite Swedish drugstore one. So for lips, let's start with lip liners. I have 3, and as you can see, judging by all 3 of them, you know, there's not a lot left because I have been using these quite frequently. Seriously, 2020 has been the year of lip liners for me. I learned how to line my lips in a way that I like it, because before I was just taught to kind of overline my Cupid's bow, and I never liked that, so I never used a lip liner. But now I've learned how to enhance it, and I like that look a lot more. So first favorite is the NYX Soft Matte Lip in Sandstorm. Second favorites are both from Milani. This one is in 03 and this one is in 09. At the bottom we have the NYX one. As you can see, it's the most cool toned one, the one that is closest to my lip color. It's sort of like my lip shade, but like 2 shades darker. Then in the middle we have 09 Spice from Milani. This one is a really nice warm toned lip liner. And then in the middle we have the 03 one from Milani, which is more like a pinkish shade. Then for lip glosses, once again, didn't like lip glosses before, but they obviously go really well with lip liners, so I have been using quite a lot of them this year. First of all, that I've been using the most is the Makeup Revolution Sheer Brilliant Lip and Knockout. It's the one that I'm using today with NYX Sandstorm. It's a very nice peachy shade. Smells very fresh and citrusy. And then I also love the Makeup Revolution Sheer Brilliant Lip in Vow, which is more of like a browner one. They're quite high pigmented, so they basically show up as exactly the shades they look like here. So lovely colors, one brown and one peachy. Lastly, we have lipsticks. For my 2 lipsticks, I have 2 faves, once again from Glossier. I love their Generation G lipsticks because they are sort of more light pigment. but they have beautiful colors. So the first one is the one in Cake, which is this warm toned, very pretty nude. And then we have the one in Zip, which is a red one. So those are those two. Wait, let me give you a little swatch of the two ones. And what I would really like about the red one is if you just give your lips a tiny bit of product, it just gives it that very pouty, cherryish red that is a little bit sheer, but it makes you look like very French, and I like that. Oh my god, that was a rant. I hope you enjoyed, because it took me a while to really look over my stash and pick the favorites. But truly, if you've been watching my videos, these products are no news. I've been using them, all of them, a lot this year. And I really like the selection because, as I said, most of them are in drugstore and affordable and highly available to a lot of people globally. So I hope that you found a few new products that you're interested in. And as I said in the beginning, if you are, I do have affiliate links down below where you can check out the product and purchase them if you want to. Yeah, that was all. Thanks for hanging out. I'll see you in the next one.